All right, you guys, what's going on? So, today I want to talk to you a little bit about when the last time was that you actually took a real deep breath. Now, I know this sounds really funny, so I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into it. It's going to be a short video. So, a lot of people struggle with a bit of anxiety for different reasons, right? And we become really preoccupied with all the different things that are going on in our life, like things that happened in the past, things that are gonna happen in the future, like what we have to do today. How's this situation gonna turn out? And we allow ourselves to consistently be stressed, right? Which is not helpful for you at all, by the way. So, like, imagine, for example, and you might not think it's so extreme because you're used to it, which is crazy. So imagine, so cortisol is your body's stress hormone, right? And so imagine if you lived in a constant state of stress or fight or flight, right? So your body is actually used to like being a little bit tense all the time. And you notice that with a lot of people when you walk around the world, like they're not just totally like at ease, very calm during the day. Right? You can tell they're a little bit more tense. Like they're in a rush to do. And I'm just saying this all because it's something that I've struggled with before, and have to remind myself of to snap out of it, so I can be present. Because when you're present, you're not preoccupied with all these other things. And bringing it to breathing, it's actually quite similar to meditating. And again, I've said this before. I was skeptical of meditating to begin with because I was like, that sounds like woo woo, spiritual. I don't know. I was a skeptic going in, right? And then I realized that I could use meditation. I started doing it, and I used it as a tool to simply not overthink, like focus on all these thoughts that are constantly coming into my head and distracting me from the present moment. I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but sometimes I realize that, like, I get sort of, you could say, I don't know, concerned, or it's like a weird feeling. I think about, wow, like I just was overthinking so much about the past, what's gonna happen, all these different situations that I wasn't present in the moment, just enjoying nature or the person that I'm hanging out with. And it kind of made me a little sad, to be honest, right? Because you can let your whole life go by that way. You can consistently not be present. Isn't that's so crazy to think about? So just to loop this back around and tie this video in a bow for you, I want you to utilize this practice in your life because I think it will be helpful for you. So, for example, right, you don't necessarily have to get into meditating if you're not ready for that, although I highly recommend it just as a practice to not overthink and stay present, focus on your breath and what's going on around with you now. And this is actually something that I struggled with, is aside from the meditation aspect, like I realized that, I lived in a state of anxiety a lot and wasn't actually breathing properly. So like always like very like shallow, small breaths, like kind of like you're on autopilot and it's just like what you need, right? Like your body's kind of doing it as second nature, which is fine, right? But I realized that number one, so mouth breathing isn't as good for you, like as healthy for you. So reshifting your focus to breathe through your nose more often, especially when you're doing, just in general, it's good for you. And you'll notice a lot of benefits. You'll just start to feel it right away. But even specifically during workouts, like any kind of walking, running, weightlifting, whatever you do, nose breathing is actually a lot more helpful for you and beneficial in those situations. there's tons of benefits to it, and I'm not going to get into it here. I mean, you can definitely do your own research, but that's a little bit of a tangent on why. If you start to actually take some deep breaths, you enter a more calm and present state. And you realize that you haven't been breathing very deeply or really very much. I've had people point it out to me before, like in different situations, like holding my breath during some weightlifting, or like super shallow breath, maybe during like a situation where I'm a little like anxious for some reason or stressed, and it really allowed me to notice it and pull myself into the present, right? It actually eases a lot of those cortisol or stress hormones, so you can actually be with what's going on during your current life. Like that's the whole moral of this video, is essentially start focusing on your breath more so you can be present, so you can reap the health benefits from it. You know, you'll have the benefits, and then also you can really, I mean, just actually enjoy your life. Because a lot of people go through very long periods just thinking too much about the past and the future, and overthinking, and, you know, what if this happens? Should I do this? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, when was the last time you actually really were breathing? Truly. Deep breaths, present. And I'll leave you with that. I hope this helps. You got this.